Hi everybody, welcome back to Forward Therapy. My name is Kelly Troutman. I'm a certified hand therapist, and in today's video we are going to dive into some study tools, tips, and tricks for all of my auditory learners out there. If you've missed the last couple videos on this channel, you would not know that we have been going through different learning styles and ways to study more effectively based on what learning style you may have. If you missed the previous two videos where we talked about learning styles in general and the 4 different VARC learning styles, go ahead and watch that video first. I'm going to post it below in the comments box, in the description box. And if you possibly missed the last video and you think you might be a visual learner, you can also find that in the description box below. Today's video, we are going to go through auditory learners. So those are people that tend to learn best through hearing information. And so there's a lot of different tools and tricks and tips out there, and I am so sure of it. So whether you are in an internship or you're getting ready to go out on your field work, or if you're a student in OT or PT school, or even if you just want to get better at your job and studying for work and for caring for your patients, if you know what learning style you have, you can better design your studies to help you learn more effectively so that you're not wasting time on study methods that don't work well for you. I know that some of you out there are definitely auditory learners. If you are an auditory learner or you tend to learn best through auditory methods, post some tips below, things that you've discovered, so that we can all share this information and we have the more tools in our little toolkit to help us. Without further ado, let's get into this video. The first strategy that I think could be helpful for auditory learners is repeating back concepts to yourself. So going through material, different notes, topics, study questions, whatever it is, keep repeating it over and over. You can verbally say it out loud if that helps you, or if you need to kind of keep rewinding the tape in your head, all of those types of things, but especially saying things out loud would tend to be helpful for auditory learners so that you can hear the material and retain it a little bit better. Group discussions might actually be great for auditory learners too, because it gives them more opportunities to hear the material out loud. So if you have a group of people that you can form a study group with, or a discussion group, some like-minded people that might also benefit from that type of learning style, so that you can go through the information, you could read out study questions and answers aloud, you could even have conversations about the topics, all to help you retain that information a little bit better. One that might be a fairly commonplace practice is recording lectures, if the professors will let you, or recording different material that you wanted to learn. You can also do that to yourself too. Let's say you're trying to learn about protocols for flexor tendon repairs or something like that. You could actually record yourself talking through the protocol, talking through all of the different information that you might need to know, and then playing it back to yourself again, so that you can keep repetitively hearing that information. Because maybe reading the protocol in the book, the textbook, is not as helpful for you as hearing it. So you may have to get creative and kind of voice recording yourself going through the information so that you can repeat it back to yourself and continue playing it back for yourself so you have more opportunities to hear it. If there's a lot of information that you need to memorize or retain, one of the possible strategies you could utilize is making up a song to remember the information. So even picking a melody from a common song, let's say like Mary Had a Little Lamb, something that everybody knows kind of that melody for. You could put words or topics that you're trying to memorize to the melody of the song so that you're able to remember the topic a little bit better. Now, when you're taking an exam or when you're trying to pull the information out to recall it, when you need it, you may not want to burst into song. You might, that might be okay too. But at least in your head, you can have that stored somewhere so that mentally you can picture that melody of the song and remember the information to be able to recall it. Another auditory strategy for retaining and memorizing information is to have a conversation with yourself. So in your room, in your studies, even if you're not in a group, you can still have conversational practice with the different topics that you're trying to learn. And you can kind of ask yourself questions out loud and then answer the questions out loud. Or let's say you're trying to explain a topic, so you just say it out loud to yourself as if you were trying to explain it to somebody. If that makes you uncomfortable, or if you don't want to talk just to yourself, have an arrangement with a friend or your family members or people that you know. Maybe you have a colleague that's also studying the same information. Pick up the phone and have a list of topics that you want to conversationally discuss, and you can kind of go back and forth. Maybe one person asks a question and then the other person answers. Something like that, just so that you can get these juices flowing and get the information out verbally. Unfortunately, a lot of learning material through school, through learning protocols, lectures, all of these things, it requires a lot of reading. Which when you're an auditory learner may not be the best way to learn the information. So you might have to practice reading the material aloud to yourself. Like maybe you don't want to sit silently in a library to read. Maybe you end up kind of at home at your desk or your work setup, that you can read the textbook out loud so that you can memorize the material a little bit better. It might help you retain it a little longer than just reading it. And my last strategy that I could think of for auditory learners would be to try and explain the material to someone that knows nothing about it, right? Because if you can explain it in layman's terms or in a way that somebody not studying this type of material, not familiar with this type of material would know, if you can explain it to them, you've got this. Like, you can definitely remember that information. So sometimes that is a great way to talk through concepts. Okay, those were all of the auditory learning strategies that I could think of that could be helpful for auditory learners when they're trying to study and learn new material. If you know of any other awesome strategies that you've used or that you know of, please comment them below so that we can all add them to our toolbox and we can build kind of the best study packet or study tools for us. And for each individual person, it's going to differ greatly, so it's helpful to have as many tools as possible. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will go over kinesthetic learning style next, so stay tuned for that one, and thank you all for watching.